my responsibilities is to try to get some of the changes that we need in the retirement income system, as the ministers like to refer to them, but to bring some kind of coalition together that allows us to increase the weight of our voices. And in that regard, I'm not an outsider to the issue that you're raising today, but I hope a capable ally in seeing that we get some kind of change done in a very important area that we all face. The group that I represent is the Canadian Association of Retired Persons. Now, we don't actually use the full name anymore. We call ourselves CARP, and I often tell people it's because none of us can really afford to retire anymore. And it needs to not only be fixes to the existing pension regulatory regime, and we've heard about some of those issues earlier today, but that for the 11 million Canadians who have no access to a workplace pension, flawed as some of those things are already, that they be given an opportunity to contribute to a large, well-managed fund that is accessible universally and affordable, that will provide an adequate income at the other end, and is sustainable and would withstand the kind of pressures that we have right now. And there are a number of very good ideas, and you'll hear about a lot of them later on when we hear from Keith Ambasher in particular as to what can be done, and Malcolm Hamilton as well. You'll hear more about how the private sector can perhaps improve our retirement income system as it stands. It's fine for me to agree with any of the people in this room that we should double or triple the CPP, that we should have a workplace pension for everybody, or make it mandatory, make it voluntary. Whatever I say is meaningless unless I can get a bunch of people who will also say the same thing at the same time and say it to their MPs. They are the people who, when they make their recommendations, are not trying to help themselves. They have already, sort of, their goose is cooked in some respects. But what they're saying is, look, learn from our experience and do this for yourselves, do this for the next working generation. Jim Flaherty is right that it's going to take an entire 40 years before we can fix this gap, fill this gap of the retirement income system. He's accurate in some respects, and especially so if his government does nothing. So when I ask our members, what do you think should be done? We asked them recently about whether or not they felt that OAS and GIS should be increased, and they had a high percentage of them said absolutely yes. Now, this is the kind of thing that has to keep happening. We've had occasion to meet with Wayne Marston, the NDP member who is also the pension and seniors critic, and he of course has the bill before the House now, the private members bill, to amend the Bankruptcy and Insolvency Act, as well as the CCAC, which will have a net positive effect on the plight of the Nortel pensioners if it goes ahead. As an opposition member, and when the NDP votes, that's not enough. Now we, in our newsletter, asked Judy Sgro, and we asked all the parties actually for their response to that bill. And Judy Sgro sent back a note saying that the Liberal Party supports it. The Bloc, last name Freeman, first name I forget, the Bloc also indicated they would support it. So now you've got all three opposition parties supporting that bill. If it gets to the House, if it gets into committee, but even after third reading, it is still possible for the government simply to keep it on so low on the order papers that it never gets royal assent and you're back to square one.